Welcome to another inspiring episode of STADIO Speaks. I'm your host, Kanyisa, and today we have a true luminary in the world of education, our head of campus at STADIO Centurion Mega Campus, Marjorie. Join us as we unravel her incredible journey and uncover the profound impact of education. Thank you so much for joining us, Majorie. So we're going to jump straight into the questions. Maybe let's start by you telling us about your childhood and how you grew up.
Thank you, Kanyisa. So I come from the dusty streets of Tabancho. It's a small town outside Bloemfontein, around 50, 60 kilos from Bloemfontein in the Free State. So as a child, I became passionate about education from a young age, and I started being familiar with education from my home as I was being raised by my parents, and as I grew up, I got to be more passionate about it.
And where did your educational journey start?
So since I started with the journey of education, when I was in tertiary at the University of Free State, I started working as a departmental assistant where I used to do marking, assignments, and all those small duties, engaging with professors. And I got to admire how they are so engaged in the academic space, and my passion started from there. Of course, I had a share in the corporate world where I used to also, as a youngster, trying to find her feet in the career field. I also went into corporate, but I saw myself leaning back towards higher education and education. That's where I find myself most of the time. So I want to say my passion got rooted as I got opportunities to grow as a female, a youngster in the field of education.
Lovely. And then can you share a pivotal moment when you realized the transformative power of education?
In as much as when you are in education, you have to be engaged, your head, your heart, your hands. At some point, it felt like it was not enough. So that is what actually inspired me to study my PhD that I'm still busy with. I got to realize that with education, a lot of doors get to be opened the higher qualification you attain. So I got to realize that I needed to spread my wings and study as many qualifications as I possibly could. And I went for a cocktail and a combination of different qualifications so that they could shape and open the doors for me in the field of education.
What qualifications do you have?
I started with my BCom. I did my BCom in marketing, I did my honors in BCom, then I did my master's in business leadership. I also did a postgrad diploma in higher education, seeing that I was spending a lot of time in my passion of higher education. I needed to go back and study the ins and outs of education. So at the moment, my PhD is in business management, and my topic is basically on higher education.
Okay, so what keeps you motivated and passionate about the work that you're in?
I love human beings. I love people. I love students, and equally said, I'm also very careful and conscious of my passion and my purpose. So I believe my purpose is in education. I believe that with everything that is happening around me, I need to stay focused and remain true to myself. So I'm also motivated by the team that is rallying behind me. I've been blessed in my career to be supported by team members that understand my purpose, that also have an aligned purpose to mine. So seeing a smile on a student's face, seeing them motivated, servicing them to the best of our ability, for me, makes me wake up in the morning and want to come and service the student.
Love that. And how do you handle challenges and setbacks in your role as education leaders?
There's a lot of those, I have to say, Kanye. There's a lot of challenges in this journey. But what I've learned throughout my career is to remain grounded. So I have learned that each time you have a challenge or a setback, it's important for you to realize and learn from it. It's important to keep yourself motivated and keep moving. It's also important that you rise and you shine, so you don't just fall. Pick yourself up, dust yourself, and keep marching forward.
Yes, definitely. What's the one piece of advice you'd give to aspiring educators who want to make a difference?
So with the aspiring ones, it's very critical for them to realize that it's not only about their qualifications. Anyone can study education and get educated to be an educator, but it remains a passion for every individual. And it's very important that educators realize that it's not about themselves, it's about the student that we are trying to service and that we are trying to fulfill. It is critical that educators also realize that they're investing so much in the future leaders, the future generation, and it's critical that they give their heart and soul in every little thing that they are doing in the field of education.
Education really is like a passion project, né?
Of course, you cannot survive without passion. I've seen a lot of heroes who did not make it in education, but because it goes back to being passionate about it. It's not just a check collection type of a job. If you are not passionate about it, it's more like a calling, according to me. So not everybody is called to be an educator, and I believe that I'm probably one of the luckiest that have that calling, and I believe I found my passion.
I love that. Tell me how you balance like your personal life and like your work life. Like how do you constantly keep grounded?
Well, I keep grounded because I'm a firm Christian, and God is at the center of everything that I'm doing. So he is the main guy behind how I stay and become grounded. But I also have a very supportive husband that loves and encourages me in every little thing that I'm doing. So it's very easy for me to balance my personal life and professional life because I got to learn that home is home and work is work. So when I'm at work, I give it my undivided attention 100%. And when I'm at home, I try to become selfish and spend time with my loved ones so that I at least create that balance. It's difficult to get a balanced work life, but through proper planning, through being agile, I'm able to survive both.
What's your fondest memory of like success that you've been through or have experienced so far?
I don't want to talk about myself, so I want to think about an opportunity of a student that I once engaged with. So in my career, I've always been big on mentorship and coaching. And there's this young guy that I got to coach and to mentor, and he was just a student. He further became a student leader, the student representative councils. And this student came from a less fortunate background with no parents as well as relative support. I got to have to step in and become the mommy that I never got an opportunity to be. And I managed to give him support in every way imaginable. The guy completed his degree and honors degree, and as we speak, he's busy with his master's.
Oh, wow.
He also got to be placed in one of the organizations that I served. So I sort of assisted him and showed him the bigger picture, provided support for him to be inside. So he's now one of the most successful employees who have so far been promoted more than 2 times already since he started less than 5 years ago.
That's amazing. And then maybe share with us, like, how do you see the future of education like evolving?
I believe that education is gearing towards being more integrated. So we are looking for an all-inclusive integrated South African higher education system in which every stakeholder that plays a role in ensuring that we service the student and make resources available comes together and becomes, the resource that the student is looking for. I see us moving more towards the student-centered approach where everything, is centered around the student. Teaching and learning is surrounded by every digital or technological aspect, but it's geared towards making the student the center of it all. So gone are those days where education was only about the teacher standing in front of a student and feeding all the information. Learning now happens in retrospection, where the student now has to do the work and learn and be guided and supported by all the technological means that we can put forward. I see artificial intelligence is also coming in a storm in the space of education, and I think it's going to play a major role in shaping how teaching and learning must happen in the classroom.
Speaking on artificial intelligence, how do you see it shaping the learning space in the classroom?
So I think because of COVID and what we learned from COVID, as well as the advances of technology, we see the now student that we are trying to serve being more independent in their teaching and learning. And I think artificial intelligence is going to play a major role in ensuring that the student receives the information they want, whether they've got a lecturer in front of them or whether traditional methods are being placed in. But in actual fact, I see it overtaking traditional teaching and learning. I see our students being more self-disciplined and more self-inclined with technology and will be able to self-study in the future.
Is that why, do you think distance learning will now overtake contact learning?
I see that happening. I see that coming so strongly. I see the open distance learning taking over the space of traditional learning. And I see a lot of institutions opening up to that. I see, especially STADIO where we are, you know, it's opening that door and it's overtaking radically the contact learning space. So I think distance learning is very important, and we need to make sure that we've got an enabled and electronic, E standing for electronic or digital environment that enables students to flourish in this high technological environment. We must remember that we're not only preparing these students for their tertiary life, we are talking about future leaders, we're talking about future employees, future entrepreneurs that need to be so familiar with the technological advancements, and I think open distance learning allows that to happen. We're training them for the future.
Yes, lovely. And then what's your most rewarding aspect of your work, and how does it keep you inspired?
I feel most rewarded when I see success. So there's a theory of the tip of the iceberg that I love so much. When people see what's on top or at face value, they only see success.
Yes.
But underneath the water, there's a lot of things that are happening. There's a lot of sacrifices, a lot of passion that needs to be instilled in everything you do. We see a lot of failures, a lot of things that can go wrong, a lot of efforts, sleepless nights, time given up, selfishness to some extent that people never get to see. So when I see success, it makes me so happy that I actually forget that I had to go through so much to achieve success. So I'm not even referring to my own success, I'm referring to the student's success. Seeing the student successful at the end of the day, whether it's at graduation or when they hold their certificate, for me is the most fulfilling feeling that you can ever come across. So irrespective of everything that happens behind the scene, there's staff members obviously that put in their sweat and tears behind ensuring the student is successful. But the end goal is seeing that student successful, and the victory they celebrate at the end, for me, it keeps me going.
What's a legacy message that you'd like to say to the next generation of inspiring women? Knowing the fact that you're one of the first women to hit a campus at STADIO.
So, as a woman, it's twice as challenging to achieve a lot of things. I want the woman of tomorrow to realize that the world is opening up to having more women in this education field. women now have a seat in the boardroom, they have a seat in leadership or management, and they must make sure that they become true to themselves, they become passionate, and in as much as I've been making a lot of noise about passion, I think they need to equip themselves with skills and knowledge. I can never stress enough the power of education in this journey of higher education or even education as a whole. And women need to understand that they deserve to be here. It's important for them to be here. Their voice can be heard, and it's a fulfilling thing to do as a woman, to be surrounded by the opposite gender and to make sure that you make your mark.
Lovely. Thank you so much for your time and your inspiring message.
Thank you so much, Kanye.
And that concludes another captivating episode of STADIO Speaks. A heartfelt thank you to our guest, Marjorie, for sharing her wisdom and passion for education. Her journey reminds us that education really can change lives. If you found this conversation as inspiring as we did, don't forget to subscribe to STADIO Speaks on your preferred podcast platform. To our listeners, thank you for joining us today. We look forward to bringing you more extraordinary stories and discussions on the future of education. Until next time, remember that education has the power to change lives.